Hi, my name is Carol Cottonstead. I'm a master gardener in Des Moines County, and I will be presenting to you briefly today about a perennial known as Sedum Autumn Joy that will be available at our plant sale the first Saturday in May. The first picture that I have to show you is of several Sedum Autumn Joy plants that were transplanted into this flower bed last spring. The three plants in the foreground are the sedum. They start out in the spring, the foliage dies back in the winter, and in the spring this plant starts out just as a little cluster of kind of rosette looking succulent type leaves, and then over the course of the season it develops this upright and kind of rounded habit. It gets about 2 feet tall, about 2 feet in diameter, and it needs to be planted about 18 inches apart. It is a sun-loving perennial. This particular bed is partial shade, but as long as Sedum Autumn Joy gets about 6 hours of sun, it tends to do very well. And it has a late blooming habit, so it doesn't bloom until typically late August into late October, with a general range of about 10 weeks of bloom time. It's a very nice source of nectar for pollinators, in particular bees and butterflies, in the late season. The cluster of flowers that you can see in this picture, this was taken last August. They haven't matured yet, but they almost look, they're kind of a flat rosette of about 3 to 6 inches in diameter, almost like a broccoli cluster. And then when that flower blooms, it starts out as a light pink, as you can see in the next picture. It develops then, as through its bloom season, it gets a darker pink, as you can see this one has started to do. This was taken in September. And as you can see, obviously very attractive to bees. It's a lot of fun to watch this plant because of the way the bees do flock to it. Throughout the season, that pink color will deepen to almost a russet or a deep bronze color, and that is this next picture. This is very mature sedum taken late October. It also shows you the one maintenance issue that I have with this plant. It tends to do very well. I've had this in my flower beds for at least 30 years, and it doesn't require much in the way of water. If we're having kind of a dry spell of 2 to 3 weeks with no rain, I'll go ahead and give it a drink. I tend to throw a little light fertilizer down in the spring, and not even every year. It doesn't really require much in the way of fertilizer. It just requires that the soil be well drained. My soil is clay, which isn't optimum, but it does have good drainage, so that's, I think, why I've had good luck with this plant. This particular picture not only shows the color of the late season, but also the one maintenance issue, as I mentioned, is you can see kind of the gap in this plant in the foreground where the flower stalks have kind of collapsed outward. This to me speaks of a very mature plant that needs to be divided. So this is a plant that I will divide this spring. It's pretty good size, so it'll probably give me at least 6 to 8 plants. Basically, I'll dig it up and divide it just with a sharp knife or a spade into probably 6 to 8 sections, and then repot or replant each one for an individual plant. I don't cut back my perennials in the fall. I used to, but I've learned as a master gardener that some pollinators will overwinter in the foliage. So I tend to leave the foliage all winter, and then in the spring I'll cut back all of the stalks down to the new growth, and I can show you a picture of that new growth. This is actually, I had divided the Sedum Autumn Joy last spring, got a bunch of pots. This particular pot plant did not get used, so at the end of the season I discarded the pot and probably saved it for this year actually, and then just kind of discarded the dirt and plant I didn't use in the back of the flower bed, figuring I'd deal with the refuse this spring. Well, here it overwintered, and now I've got a nice new plant. So this will probably be repotted either. I'll probably bring it to the plant sale. But anyway, it's a very easy perennial. It's quite dependable. It's really nice that it's so great for the pollinators, and it will be available at the plant sale. If you have any questions, there will be master gardeners available at the plant sale, and there will be more details forthcoming about the plant sale. Thank you.